welcome back, and thank you for tuning in into the third segment of What's Up Vegas Zeitgeist, where it's about Jean Ann Alexander's story, and it is interviewed by Jay Jordan.
Just a quick recap. We talked about Walter Benton's This Is My Beloved, and it mirrors a story of Jean's father, Richard Norman Alexander, who went over to Europe, assigned as a military airman, and he was very fortunately, he met this wonderful lady from Germany. He fell in love with her. They courted. They got married, and they had a daughter, Jean Ann, and then the airman gets assigned back to the United States. The expectation is that Jean's mother and Jean will follow suit. That didn't quite happen. Jean and her mom ended up staying in Europe. Jean grew up, went all over the world to a certain extent in coming to America on a visit, went back, and after her sons were out of high school, decided that she wanted to spend her time in America, and in the process she wanted to meet her father. And so that's where we're going to pick up the story today. Let me just say just a few words here from the actual poem. Darling, I want to remember you always, everywhere, in a tavern, in a church, asleep, taking bath. I must never forget the look in your eyes.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I can imagine that my father and as well my mother, when maybe my father knew about this book, but I see them both kind of, when I start reading one of the other poems, that they would love it.
I would suspect that because I found the same set of poems in an Air Force library, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Right. So, where we were last time, I met my father the first time in Rochester, New York, coming up the escalator with this lady who picked me up at the airport with this big sign, Jean A.
Mm-hmm.
And then she asked me while waiting for the escalator, do you want me to come with you? And even I didn't know this lady either. I said, yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we went up, and then the door opened. My dad was standing in front of me, and it was the emotional bump I will never forget. It was on one point dramatic because what I did not know, he was sick, and he had throat cancer, so his face was swollen. So there was that visual shock, and of course that shock of, that's my dad. This is my dad. But all this went away the moment when he just opened his arms, and I ran into his arms, and he squeezed me, and then the lady in the back starts crying, and we went inside and sit down, and he said, excuse me, but my Barry White voice is gone, so he had to take this little micro whatever thing, and he didn't like it, so he said, do you mind if I just write down what I say and what I want to say, and you read it? And I said, that's fine with me. So doing that took about maybe 5 to 10 minutes. We realized we had the same sense of humor. it was just incredible. I don't know what he said sometimes or wrote down, and I said, maybe it was as well kind of, the shock situation. Everybody handles shock differently. But we laughed. We were just laughing about things, what he said. He made some cute jokes, kind of. First thing what he asked me was, do you shoot pool? I said, no, I don't. You got to learn that. Okay, so fine with me. So that was kind of the first 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes where we really loosened up, and then he started writing down names on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Sonny, Aunt Marilyn, Aunt Betty, and numbers. And I say, what is it? And he was pointing out, you're going to call these people. You're going to call them. I said, I don't know these people. You're going to call them. And that was the first time in my life that my dad told me something to do. I said, well, probably as a good daughter, you should follow. So I saw these numbers and picked up the phone and started dialing, and hello, this is Jean Ann. Who is this? Jean Alexander, Richard's daughter. What? Richard had a daughter? I heard, somebody in the background. Oh, you're welcome. When do you come over? Tomorrow? Okay. Next. Aunt, whomever, Betty, same thing. Who is this? Oh, Richard had a daughter. Oh, wonderful. When are you coming over? So it was kind of a surprise all of a sudden, having this list of people, and this is my family.
Exactly.
I have family here.
Right.
And they're welcoming me.
Right.
And my dad was sitting there and had, he loved it. Mm-hmm. He was proud dad all of a sudden after 46 years.
Right.
So, and then he asked me, would you like to call your mom in Germany? I said, yes, please. So I called my mom, and I said to her, well, I'm here now and sitting in front of your husband. They were still married. And my dad, and he cannot speak, but he can write down whatever he wants to tell you, and I will tell you. And he took the phone, and she starts talking, and I don't know what they were talking, but all of a sudden, out of the blue, kind of, my dad starts crying like Niagara Falls. I've never seen so much water coming out of a person. I thought, oh my gosh. So I was shocked, and I took the phone, and he wrote something down, and I said, Mom, I don't know what you said, but he is crying. And he gave me this piece of paper, and I said, and he wants me to tell you that I still love you. That's what he wrote down. And I think that was kind of shocking and emotional, and I would love to continue next week, Friday, and talk a little bit more about what happened then. And I think we should say
to be continued.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you on WCOBM. What's up, Vegas Zeitgeist.